In case you haven't already heard, we released a new Dragon headphone cable. What's up, audiophiles? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm joined by Moon Audio CEO and founder Drew Baird PE, who has something special to share with us.
That's right, we've officially launched our newest Dragon cable, the Bronze Dragon Headphone Cable. To kick off the launch of our Bronze Dragon Headphone Cable, here are 5 things you need to know about the newest Dragon cable.
The Bronze Dragon Headphone Cable is the first Dragon cable to use graphene, a unique material that elevates the cable's performance. So Drew, tell us why graphene?
Well, this is an interesting material, and if you're not aware, graphene actually comes from graphite. That's the stuff that was used in your number 2 pencils when you took your SATs. It's been very hard to pull that material out of the graphite, and it wasn't until 2004 when they actually figured out a way to separate the two materials away from each other. And graphene is an ultralight yet immensely tough, 200 times stronger than steel material.
Wow.
But it's incredibly flexible. It's the thinnest material possible as well, being transparent, superconductor, and can act as a perfect barrier. Not even helium can pass through it. It protects your cable from oxidation as well. It's a very interesting material, and we haven't been able to utilize it in the cables until recently, and it's essentially a superconductor. It improves connectivity of the current, the electricity, the signal passing through the cable. It's a very unique material, and we'll get to the qualifications of why we used it in a little bit.
So what made you choose graphene over, some other materials?
Well, we're always constantly looking for a different flavor in the sound, and materials matter. They change the tonality, the coloration of the sound. So we're always looking for unique metallurgy, if you will, to find a different coloration. What we found with the graphene is that it actually gives a little bit of what we get from the Silver Dragon, the detail, the resolution, the clarity. But then we're also, we're using UP-OCC copper that we use in the Black and Blue Dragon. So we're getting that warm tonality. So we're getting a little bit of the best of 2 worlds, musicality, detail. So it's a very unique combination.
Okay. So in terms of sound quality, where does the Bronze Dragon sit with all of our Dragon cable lines?
Yeah, so since obviously I just said, it's got a little bit of the silver, a little bit of the black, so it sort of falls right between those 2 cables in terms of not just sound signature and whatnot, but also price, right? So we're constantly trying to find the right materials, and the pricing just lended itself to be there. So now we go from, in terms of pricing, silver, bronze, black, and then blue. Now, price doesn't always mean which is the best cable for your unique situation. It all comes down to, again, like I talked about, coloration. What are we trying to change? What are we trying to improve? What are we trying to get more of? And so that's where it sits in terms of, in my mind, in terms of sound quality. It's halfway between silver and black. But again, some of these other color dragons can be, unique to your certain situation. So.
Okay, so then what are the sonic qualities of the bronze?
So lots of detail, lots of air, lots of definition, but not tip forward, not laid back and lush and sort of boring and dry. So, you're getting the musicality again from the Black Dragon, you're getting the detail and resolution from the Silver Dragon, but you're not too far to the right or left, if you will, in terms of the different colorations. So it's a very balanced sound. We've always talked about the Blue Dragon being a very neutral and natural sounding cable, but I would say this is even more balanced because it has some of those other characteristics in it that just make it perfect for all kinds of different situations.
Okay. High quality craftsmanship is something that we're really proud of here at Moon Audio when it comes to our Dragon cables. So without kind of spilling the whole secret to the sauce, tell me a little bit about the cable design of the Bronze Dragon headphone cable.
So here we have the graphene UP-OCC copper conductors. Each one of them is graphene coated. Graphene tends to be a clear, transparent, almost like adding gel to your hair, if you will, right? Okay. It's a shiny material. You won't really see it. It's transparent. Each one of these strands in the conductor sort of acts as its own superconductor highway, if you will, for the signal. We Teflon encase all of our conductors. We do this on all of the Dragon cables. Teflon has the best air dielectric, essentially meaning the electrical field doesn't see it as a barrier to itself, and it's very important with electrical signals not to impede that field. Then we've got 2 layers of shielding. We've got an aluminized mylar, which is a wrapped, if you will, paper made out of aluminum that twists around the conductors. This acts as the first shield, and to add extra protection, we then do 100% braided tin copper shield on top of the mylar. This prevents any kind of antenna effect from our cables. Headphone cables can be long. They can be, 20, 25 foot if you really want something long. What's gonna happen if you don't have these protective shielding is that stuff that's in the air in your house and all your devices in your house are giving off EMI and RFI and all kinds of stuff. So we're trying to protect the integrity of our signals from outside interference.
Okay.
And then we use a PVC jacket, a polyethylene material. You'll find something really unique about the Bronze Dragon cables is they coil very nicely. And that has something to do with the graphene. The graphene is a very flexible material, and so these cables coil very nicely, better than any of the other Dragons. So that's really important in terms of your ergonomics in your system, being able to have a very flexible cable that's thicker, right? We have to make our headphones larger than, say, our IM cables because headphones need a lot more, if you will, breathing room for the electrical signal than an IM. Unfortunately, the thicker your cable, the bigger your cable, the less flexible it's gonna be. But this is a very flexible cable. It's gonna make for a great dual purpose home and portable cable in a full size situation.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that part. And that was one of the things that I noticed initially when we created our very first test run of the Bronze Dragon headphone cable, got all our materials in. The second I picked it up, I was like, wow, this just feels light, super flexible, and we've got some really unique design elements. If you look real closely here, you can see we've got the Bronze Dragon logo kind of spread throughout the cable. We build these cables in-house daily in our Cary, North Carolina headquarters. So regardless of whether you're choosing the Silver Dragon, the Bronze Dragon, the Black Dragon, or the Blue Dragon cable, you just can't go wrong. With a balanced sound signature, the Bronze Dragon headphone cable is going to complement the sound of pretty much any headphone in your collection. From bright or edgy to neutral and natural, there really is no headphone that this cable will not excel with. But we do want to shout out some of our personal favorite pairings, one of which being the Focal Utopia.
Yeah, I mean the Focal Utopia, and the reason it's really my #1 favorite headphone is because it has the ability to do 2 things amazingly well: musicality, detailed definition. I'm a detail freak, but I don't want to lose musicality to have that extra detail and sparkle and sizzle and whatever you want to call it. I love the nuances of detail. And this cable is the same way. It's gonna give you that stuff, but it's also gonna give you the musicality. So the Focal Utopia and the Stellia both use beryllium drivers. So really I'm fine, I haven't tried every beryllium driver headphone on the market, but I would say that this would be a wonderful match for any headphone that uses a beryllium driver. We've also got here the Poet. We tested it with a Poet. That's a very balanced headphone. It happens to have a bronze grill on it, so not only is it a good match for the headphone sonically, but also visually. Again, visually with the Stellia. I really liked it with the Grado headphones. The S950 is a very balanced Grado headphone. It's a great match for that. It's got the wooden cups, and so the brown matches with the bronze. Again, visually stunning as well, so that was a good pairing. You can't go wrong with this cable on any headphone. I think it's really a cable that's gonna mate well with most headphones out there.
Yeah, and I think particularly that's what I love the most about the Bronze Dragon headphone cable, and specifically the Bronze Dragon sound signature in general. I love musicality, but I also, like you were saying, I appreciate times when I can get detail, nuance, and a little bit more of a critical listening session from headphones. So the nice thing about the Bronze Dragon is it's almost like a chameleon in the sense where regardless of what your headphones sound like, it's just gonna pair beautifully with them. If you're in a situation where you do have a more analytical, detailed sounding headphone and you just want to add some more musicality for maybe like those 2 artists that you love that have musical elements, then you would add the Bronze Dragon headphone cable. But if you have a headphone that's already extremely musical and it has good bass response, the Bronze Dragon will still be a great choice. That's what's so awesome about our entire Dragon audio cable line. Each one of our Dragons have synergy with a variety of headphones, different components. As you can see here, we've got the Cord Alto headphone amp. So regardless of what source devices you're using, amplification, what your setup looks like, any of our Bronze Dragon headphone cables, IEM cables, we have interconnects, you name it, we've got it in the Bronze Dragon. This is a sound signature that you're going to want.
Yeah. And one small thing that I forgot to talk about earlier in terms of the sonic features, let's talk about the bass, the bottom end weight.
Yes.
I didn't mention that. So it's, you know, again, the great thing about the Silver Dragon is tight controlled bass. The great thing about the Black Dragon is a big bold bass. This has a really fast attack, quick, bottom end weight to it. So it's, you know, it's really fun sounding, if you will. So that's another characteristic we can call it. It's fun sounding.
As you may already know, we specialize in creating custom audio cables for almost any setup you can imagine.
As with our entire Dragon line, the Bronze Dragon headphone cable is available in many cable lengths and terminations. Beyond the standard lengths and terminations, we'll work with you to create a custom headphone cable for your setup. And one thing to talk about is length. You know, with graphene, it's a superconductor. It adds to the ability to get that signal over longer lengths of cable. So if you need a really long length of cable, this would be the cable to get. It's got an incredible connectivity and it'll handle those long lengths. If you've got a unique configuration, chances are we can build exactly what you need.
So enlighten our viewers a little bit on what headphone connection options we have, what popular amplifier connection options we have, so that way, you know, if they're watching this video and they want the Bronze Dragon headphone cable, they don't have to worry, you know, will my headphone be compatible with it?
Yeah. So the beginning of Moon Audio, the whole point was how to connect all of your devices together. There wasn't a one-stop shop, a place for me to go to find a cable to get from these very unique connections to another unique connections. So that's sort of how Moon Audio was created. I mean, you name it, we've got the connection, and if we don't have it in stock, we can get it for you. So the first one here you'll see is the Dan Clark connecting. These use the high-rose connector. It's a locking, really cool connector. I wish more people actually used it. We've got the Mini 4-pin XLR that's also locking. These are popular with Meze and Audis. We've got the Focal Utopia here to go along, obviously, with these Utopias here. We're showing here our Sennheiser HD800 connector, and of course the 3.5 connector that's used on so many brands all over the world.
So if you ever have any questions about headphone and component compatibility, go ahead, reach out, give us a call. We're more than happy to walk you through the process of ordering a custom Dragon audio cable.
So there you have it. Now that you know the 5 essential things about our Bronze Dragon headphone cable, it's time to experience the Dragon cable difference for yourself. Visit our website at moon-audio.com to configure your ideal Bronze Dragon headphone cable with your preferred terminations and length. While you're at it, check out our entire collection of Dragon audio cables.
Your headphones deserve nothing but the best, so why not invest in a high-quality audio cable? Don't forget to give this video some love with a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? This is your one-stop shop for all things hi-fi, so click that bell and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah.